GratKast.
All right, Earthlings. Hello. Welcome to the Gratitude Cast, a.k.a. GratKast.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. I am joined by my best friend and co-host, Nick. Everyone give a round of applause.
Woo! All right. And to my right here is the one and only Francisco Martin, my incredible co-host. Make some noise.
Yeah!
Hey, all right. We've got a wonderful episode for you guys today, and let's just jump right into it.
Yeah.
It's been a little bit of time since we saw you last, and
It's May now.
it sure is incredible. Brand new month. That's one
Summer's-
thing I'm grateful for. But I want to turn it to you. What are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for waking up today, and
I said that last time.
fuck, you're right.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Give me another one. Give me another one.
I'm grateful that I didn't get into a car accident today on Highway 5 because it was a lot of traffic. And I'm just grateful to be here today recording this podcast with you, bro.
That's awesome. I'm also grateful that you didn't get into a car crash.
Oh, thank you so much.
I've been in there. I've been in those before.
Yeah,
Not the most fun.
not to spill the beans, but like you were in a really bad car wreck.
We can talk about it.
Yeah, okay. You go ahead, man.
I feel like it's good to talk about because it is a good reminder that I'm grateful for good friends. For those watching at home, I was in an accident about like a year ago.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, a little bit over a year.
That's something you should remember,
A little
right?
bit over a year ago. The concussion that I got from that just jogged my brain, and there's not much I remember since then. But yeah, I was in a car accident. I was coming back from Las Vegas for a session, and it was raining a lot. It was the first rain of the season. The road got real slippery and wet, and my car hydroplaned, and I went off the highway. Luckily, no one else got injured, and I didn't hit any other cars. But not the most fun weather-related incident that I've been in. And yeah, not the best situation, but luckily I've got good friends around me. And you even stopped a session.
I stopped. I was literally in a session.
And he said, "Nah,
and I was
gotta go get the boy.
I gotta pick up my boy Nick. Like he was all. Where were you? Stop.
I want to say like San Bernardino. It was like an hour and a half outside of LA. You hopped in the car with Wyatt Pike. Shout out Wyatt Pike, and Graham. Shout out Graham. And they came and rescued me.
Yeah,
it was big.
When people, especially when your friends and loved ones are in need, you got to drop whatever you're doing. If you're in the shower, you better get the fuck out of that shower and just run it and book it. Save them.
Don't even need your clothes.
Don't even need the clothes, bro. Come out butt ass naked, wet, sopping wet.
We're not going to be able to monetize this video.
No, you're right. Yeah, it's all good.
All right, shout out to all the ad sponsors out there.
All jokes aside, I am very grateful that you're alive today and that you're safe and sound and that you're here with me.
Appreciate that. That means a lot, and it meant a lot to me that day when you came pick me up.
Of course, man.
Always remember that.
I will do that as many times as I need to.
Hopefully you don't ever need to do that again. I will do my best.
Hopefully not,
and,
man.
I feel like I'm a little bit more adjusted to the LA roads now, and that is definitely was a learning experience for me, and I'm extra cautious about how I drive now.
And you have a brand new car?
True.
There you go. That's the upside.
It's got safety features and such.
Right. You got to look for the beauty in the struggle,
True.
And I feel like that's a lot what we, me who struggles with mental health. It is Mental Health Awareness Month, as we stated in the last podcast. But like I think a lot of the times we forget that when we're struggling, that we think that it's the end of everything. You gotta look for the diamond in the rough, and it's really hard to sometimes when you are struggling. I get that. I've been there in that position, but looking at it in a different perspective really will change your point of view. And you kind of look back. Was that sadness? Was that me really struggling, or was that me not allowing myself to look at it a different way?
True. I think, it's a kind of a cliche quote, but like every cloud has a silver lining. I think it's something that I try to keep in mind and like actively apply to my life. Like even if it's a situation where, on the outside it could seem bad, I will like almost put myself through the practice or like the routine of like, okay, this seems bad, but there has to be something good to it. And like taking a second to one, just like recognizing like, okay, maybe these things aren't good about it, but like looking at like there has to be some kind of positive. And it's almost kind of like a way to rewire your brain of like, if you're consciously thinking about what good could come from it or what good is present in it, it helps you deal with all the negative things. And reminds me of a Chinese adage from way back in the day called, I'm trying to remember exactly how it goes. I don't remember the specific name of it, but the general story goes like this. One day, a farmer is on his land, and his most prized horse runs away. And, the whole village hears about it and is like, I'm so sorry, that's awful, like, that's terrible. And the farmer's like, perhaps, like, we'll see. Being like, what? Like, he ran away, like, that's terrible. Like, you lost your best horse, that's going to be, it's tough for you. He's like, we'll see. Next day, horse comes back with 5 other horses. It, went out in nature and rounded the horses up and brought them back. And so everyone's like, oh my gosh, that's such a good thing. Like, that's amazing. You got 5 new horses. You don't have to pay for them. Like, what good luck. And he's like, maybe, perhaps. And, the next day, one of his sons is training one of the new horses, falls off and breaks his arm. And again, the whole village is like, that's awful. I'm so sorry to hear that. Like, it's terrible. He wasn't, the son's not able to work anymore. And it's just a general bad thing. Mm-hmm. But again, the dad is kind of calm and collected and goes like, perhaps, like maybe, we'll see. Next day after that, guess who gets a knock on their door? Same family, and it's the army coming for the draft. And the son didn't have to go to war because he was injured and had a broken arm.
Ooh.
And so again, everyone's saying like, oh my gosh, it's such a good thing that his arm was broken because, he didn't have to go to the draft. And again, the dad was like, like maybe, perhaps. Right. And I feel like that's the end of the story. The general message, though, is that like you never know what's going to come of things. And even if something seems bad now, it could be something that sets up something good in the future.
I think a lot of that, too, is on the basis of luck, Not that it's just handed to you, like in this anecdote that you were explaining. It's just all based off of, do you believe that you're lucky? And do you believe your perspective of being lucky? Like I wake up every single day and I feel lucky for all the things that I have and the people in my life. When you look at it that way, as in the anecdote where he was like, maybe we'll see. It's kind of a form of looking at things in a very fortunate perspective, but not acknowledging the mishaps, like the negative, and that's kind of what we go through about in life, and we tend to, as humans, over-traumatize and self-victimize,
True. Another one of my favorite quotes is, this too shall pass. It's such a heavy quote, but it's also just so neutral. And it's got such a good backwards perspective, not backwards, but like macro perspective on things. Kind of reminds me of what you mentioned on the last episode of the podcast, which if you haven't seen yet, go check that out on Francisco's YouTube channel.
Yep.
But you mentioned the kind of like, if this isn't going to bother me in 5 years, then it shouldn't bother me today. It's one of those things, like even if it's something really bad and you feel like you're going through something right now, keeping in mind like this too shall pass and better days are ahead. And also if you're on top of the world, it's a good reminder to kind of stay humble and know that like you got to come down the other side of the mountain eventually, and like those really good days, this too shall pass as well.
Exactly.
Life is all about the ups and downs, but I think it's a good quote that I found.
If life was great all the time, like what's there to live for?
That's a good point.
If life was just fucking just walk down the park, what is there to fucking see and to experience?
True. It wouldn't have the joy. It's kind of like you can't have the sun without the rain.
Oh, exactly.
And like, you can't experience happiness without also experiencing sadness.
I mean, personally for me, the way that works for me is just like in the past 3 years when I started this music career, and like I have struggled a lot with my mental health, and taking that and running with it, especially in this industry, and like being an artist and, basically living to work. I want to live to work, but also my work entails a lot of myself, and I'm always inserting myself into my work. I have to, and it's a very vulnerable position,
True.
And even talking about my mental health, like it's not a normal thing for the average person to just open up about themselves just being an open book, but that has also taught me to be an open book because it allows other people to understand that the conversation must go on, and it's important to have a conversation, not only with the people that you care about, but the people that you walk down the street with, and you just kind of say, just sharing like that energy with people. It's just like, it's like acknowledging that, like, yes, this is a safe space, you know, and everything else should be able to kind of fall through after that, you know?
True. I think something you touched on, I would like to highlight as something I consider one of your best traits is the fact that you're like able to be an open book. I think talking about stuff and being as open as you are regarding like your mental health journey and just what you have going on in your life is, like you said, that's not very, very common, and it takes a lot of strength in that. And I think there's a lot of strength in vulnerability, in being able to do that, and that's something that a lot of people are. It's hard, but I think that's a really big sign, or like for me, that's something I really like in an artist is when they're able to be vulnerable and like say things that I'm just like, you know, this is stuff that I would never even like say out loud, stuff that like everyone low-key thinks about and has thoughts, but it takes like a lot of strength to be able to kind of say that and kind of come forward with that. And that's something that you do really, really well, and I have always liked about you, so
I appreciate
big
that,
up for
man.
that. Yeah, of course.
Moving on to the topic, we were talking about music for a little bit there. Have you done any sessions lately?
I have not done as many sessions lately.
Anything, like you've been producing anything?
A couple things here and there. I've been having fun remixing songs.
Yeah? Oh yeah, you showed me a couple
some
of your
remixes, some edits and stuff have been fun. I've been going to some really cool live shows. I mentioned Coachella, and there's been a couple other fun things that I've done that I feel like live stuff's been fun. Been editing, doing like edits on that. And also just like taking acapellas and then turning those into beats.
Didn't you turn like it was like Carly Rae Jepsen or something? It was,
no, I should do something like that.
Rebecca Black or something, right?
It was Charlie X. I think you're talking about Charlie XCX.
I don't know why. She does not fall. She doesn't fall into that category of like
Rebecca Black. I feel like Rebecca Black and Charlie XCX are adjacent. They've worked with the same producers before. I know that much.
Yeah.
Rebecca Black
from what
is
I know,
surprisingly kind of on a little. She's kind of in like the hyperpop wave.
Yeah, the hyperpop wave. I mean, in terms of the hyperpop wave, where is that now?
It's an interesting question. It's in a weird state.
You brought up 100 gecs earlier.
What, earlier today?
Yeah, we were speaking about it. Not on this podcast, but before this even aired.
Like, shout out to 100 gecs. Shout out to 10,000 gecs. New album just came out.
Do you remember when I was playing a show in San Antonio, and it was at the venue, the Paper Tiger, one of my favorite venues, by the way. Shout out Paper Tiger.
Shout out Paper Tiger.
And
we played.
Yeah, shout out San Antone.
Saint Anthony.
Saint Anthony. But yeah, I was playing in that tiny little venue, and right next, because they have two venues, two rooms, one small room, one big room, and right next door, 100 gecs was playing, and you were like, I didn't even know who they were at the time, and you were like, oh my gosh, my favorite artist, 100 gecs is out, Dylan Brady's there, and I was like, and wasn't that the craziest experience for you?
That was wild.
Because you went to a show right after that, right?
True. I went to their LA show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you end up talking to them that night?
I did. I spoke with them a little bit afterwards. Dylan was nice enough to put me on the guest list for the LA show. Fire. Because I was working at the other one and missed their set. But you're exposing me big time right now.
No, we're just talking.
No, yeah, they're fun. Shout out Fun Music. I like the thing about them for me is when I listen to it, I can hear them having fun in the studio more than any other music. Like it's just I can like see the smile on their faces and like hear them laughing as they're making just the crazy music that they make. And it reminds me of when I'm in sessions and I have fun, like all the sessions you and I have done, and super fun to
sessions.
Hearing like those kind of things.
I actually really miss like when I don't really miss it anymore, but we used to stay up super late, just way late, like when the sun just came up, and like it was just, and we'd go to IHOP and just like eat right afterwards, be like
8 in the morning we go for breakfast after not sleeping.
It's fun. I mean, like now there's a balance now. I mean, like some days I'll stay up to 3 a.m. to work on a song, and but then like again, self-care is really important. Taking care of yourself.
Sleep is a very big part of that.
Yeah, I mean, even in the past 2 weeks, I've been getting only like 5 hours of sleep, oddly, and I've just been able
I feel like you need more than that.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like at the same time it's keeping me on my toes because I have been feeling a little bit more manic these days, and like it's been a lot easier to get stuff out because I'm a lot more productive, I'm a lot more wired, but not saying that's healthy, you know. But sometimes
everything in moderation. It's all a balance. It's all a balance. But speaking of the music topic, there's something that I wanted to bring up today that has been of interest to me. Have you heard about the Ed Sheeran, Marvin Gaye lawsuit copyright case that's been going on?
I have not.
So Ed Sheeran has a song called Thinking About You.
Thinking Out Loud?
Thinking Out Loud. That could be it. Thinking Out Loud.
And
it apparently is one semitone down, same chord progression, and similar vibe to "Let's Get It On" by Marvin Gaye.
Yeah,
and Marvin Gaye is suing him.
I did hear about that.
There's been some interesting controversies around it. There's even been like quote unquote music theory experts, like teachers in colleges, who have gone and testified and said different things about it.
What's your take on it?
I think that you can't copyright chords. It's almost like, it's like trying to if you're a painter, it's like trying to copyright a color. Like there's there's 12 notes in music and in Western music, and chord progressions exist across everything. It's impossible to write a new chord progression nowadays. Like,
it's funny that you mentioned that too. I mean, because like he also that song "Shape of You." It would also with TLC No Scrubs. It was like they also had. I mean, it wasn't like a lawsuit or anything like that. They were just like, "Hey, that sounds like our song." And Ed Sheeran, like I don't know how he is as a person, but I've heard very great things about him. I think
goofy.
He seems like a goofy guy.
Yeah.
Apparently, he gave him credit immediately. He was like, "Oh yeah, you're right. It sounds like No Scrubs. Shape of You does." And he gave him writing credit.
That's nice.
It sucks that it's like turning that way, where Marvin Gaye's estate's like suing him for. That's
another interesting thing. Is like a lot of it seems just kind of like a money play. Which again, I don't know anyone involved in that case, so I can't speak directly on it. But it's tough. I think for me in general, as an artist, I am on the side of let the art live, like give it to the people. I think if you feel like it's been taken in a way, talk to the artists and maybe we try to work out a credit kind of a thing. But you don't need to sue somebody over that. Especially something that has a completely different concept, totally different melody line. It's like it could have been inspired by, but if someone did that to me, I would almost take it as a compliment. And like as a producer, I started off sampling, and like I know how like big that is and how much originality can come from sampling other things. Which isn't even like a sampling case, but I think I don't know. There's a quote that like good artists copy, but great artists steal.
No,
or something to that.
What is Hemingway or something like that?
Something to that effect. I don't know. We're stealing that quote and butchering it, but also, I think there's some truth in that. I think
some absolute truth.
There's
sure.
Nothing new under the sun, and as long as you turn it into something that's new and your own, then I feel like it's okay to take inspiration from certain things.
I'm a firm believer that art is derivative and resourceful. Like I feel like a lot of my inspiration comes from just every day listening to music and like subconsciously like taking that in, without me even knowing, and then when I go into a session or I'm producing or like by myself and trying to create a song idea, not even trying to, just like simply creating, like those ideas kind of find themselves naturally, because I listen to a Marvin Gaye song or something like that, But it takes a weird kind of turn when you do kind of get all legal with it and turn all business side of it. That's why I'm like super.
Let the lawyers handle it.
Well, yeah, I mean, in many ways, like I love to just create in general, and I think that's what kind of stifled a lot of my creativity in the past 2 years, and where I'm at right now in my creativity, I'm very radical with it. I'm very free. I'm letting go of control. I'm just simply creating. I'm simply creating the stuff that I think is great and I love, that I just personally would listen to myself. And I wouldn't trade that for the world, because I found that epiphany. And since then, I've been just making what I love to make,
That sounds very freeing and like a very big shift, or not shift, but necessarily like a step up almost in your creativity? Have you
I don't
noticed?
even think it's a
do you feel like you're more? Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
You're so sweet. Do you feel like you are more productive now that you have that change in approach?
Oh yeah, I think a lot of the things I was gripping onto, like, oh, is other people gonna like it? Is my team, my label gonna like it? Like all those things, like were raining down my mind every time I was making a song or trying to make a song. And I think it was just from this book called I think it's The War of Art. You know, and it's it's somebody, I forget what his name is, but Stevens is his last name or something like that. But he talks about shout out Stevens. He talks about resistance, you know, in art. And resistance is not your friend. Resistance is your enemy. I would say the only enemy in my life, I don't have any enemies in my life. I don't have any hatred towards anybody. I love everybody. I just want to share love. You know, the only thing that I feel like gets in the way of me when I'm creating and just in life in general when I'm making choices is resistance. And resistance is not a good thing because it stunts us. It stunts our growth. It stunts our creativity. You know, when you're making stuff, you tend to overthink and you tend to get down the rabbit hole and you're like, oh, this shit sucks. When at the same time, it's just like you're only thinking that, and it's just that little part of your brain that's telling you that it sucks. And more often than not, like, it's just resistance. And I believe now through this epiphany that instinct is key. Instinct is always key, you know? So now I just trust my instinct. You know, I don't have people making up my mind anymore than they have in the past 2 years. Like, I would literally assert myself in these sessions when I was recreating songs to repurpose them and like make them into, take them out of demo land. I used to think that like, oh, like taking it to a real studio and like having professional session musicians play on it would be the best, and it would turn everything. No, that's me resisting, you know? Like I want to just be able to get to a point, and I think I've got to that point, and I feel like I can't take that away from myself anymore, and I'm like a sponge because like I'm obsessed with just growth and like self-growth and how can I do better, you know? And I feel like it was always in me. It was just the resistance part of me that was taking that away, and in hindsight, taking away who you actually are as a person. And I'm done with that. I'm 22 years old and I'm still young, but I want to be able to create music for the rest of my life with or without any restrictions.
You're getting me excited for the new music you got coming out then.
Oh,
all
yeah.
this conversation, I'm excited. I feel like you're on a whole new wave. Is there anything that you can let us know?
Yeah, I got 2 songs coming out this month. Lily.
Ooh.
Got Lily coming out,
Ooh.
which is a song that I love and I wrote a couple months ago. I'm really like, it was actually around the time I had that breakthrough, and I was like, you know what, like I'm literally gonna just create and not care, just gonna do it. And then like that came out and I finished that in like 4 hours.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I actually wrote it with a couple people, but I finished it with Drew Kennedy. He's an amazing writer.
Shout out Drew Kennedy.
Shout out Drew, you're amazing, bro. He's a wordsmith in his own right, you know. And I just finished yesterday this song that I have called Evil Eye, which is about mental health and addictions and struggles and generational trauma, all packed into one, and heartbreak, all packed into one, you know?
Heavy.
Yeah, it's a heavy song for me, at least, and I wrote it from a heavy place, you know? But even then, like even now where I am now and like so much more clear-headed and have so much more clarity, I realize there's a beauty in that too, because there's so much of what I was saying rings true to me today, even still, just to me. And that's all that matters. If you believe in yourself and believe in what you're making, that's all that freaking matters, you know? Rick Rubin literally said, you can't make art with someone else in mind.
I was just going to bring him up. As a matter of fact, everything we've been talking about made me think of that quote where he's like, make art that you will love. And that's the best way to like approach it as an artist. I think it's the best way to like, you know, go to sleep at night with a smile on your face, even if no one else likes it. Like you can be like, all right, I know that I at least did what I like.
And that's all that matters.
And I think people connect with that. There's a certain level of authenticity to it that is like, you know what, like if I put my whole back into this, and something that I love, and like you can show that passion and people can feel that in the music, then I think that's something that people will connect with more than, oh, I'm chasing a sound or I'm chasing a hit or XYZ kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And I think, that
my manager, Joey, shout out Joey.
Shout out Joey.
This podcast is going to be full of shout outs.
That's what we do. We're here to show gratitude to people and give people flowers while they're alive. Not even just people, but everything.
Yes.
Show gratitude for it.
Animals,
I love it.
inanimate objects.
This could be the shout out podcast.
Make out with them all. Just kidding. That's a fucking joke. He said, sorry, I digress. Joey says you can't please everybody, you know? And like, I hear that a lot, but then it meant a lot coming from him, you know, somebody of his caliber. I really respect him and his words and his ears. Not his physical ears, but
he got some great ears, though. Shout out to Joey's ears.
Yep, shout out Joey's ears. We're grateful for you too. You know, I mean, that's where. I mean, yeah. In hindsight, that's where like that it got him to that place of like success. True. And you know where he is today. And I'm just so grateful to have him on my team and to you know come through this breakthrough and to share this good music with you guys. I'm definitely gonna be releasing every month. All the songs I'm really excited about, and yeah, it's definitely a new thing, and I know I'm aware it's a new thing, but also it's a new chapter and a new journey.
New beginnings. It's awesome.
New beginnings. Shout out Frank.
Shout out Frank. Crazy. Let's see. What else do you have on the docket?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I got a lot of you know, resurgences in my own personal life, you know, like I'm just growing up, you know, becoming like an adult, you know.
True.
You know, I didn't realize like how crazy like life was until I actually like sat down for a sec and like realized what I've actually gone through mentally and the experiences I've gone through, you know. Like me and you, I remember when me and you went to the Philippines together. Like
We've done a lot.
That feels like a fever dream still.
True. That was one of the craziest 2.5 weeks of my life.
It was one of the craziest. And it's just like, even then, like, I'm still grateful for those moments because it shaped the person who I am today and who I'm going to be later on in life, you know? Like, I feel like I ask myself all these questions because I need to question deeply all my beliefs. You know, I can't live passively through life. You know, that's just not how I want to work and how I work, you know. Mm-hmm. Even this transcends even beyond music, you know. I want to be able to be a man of my word and a person who influences others just in my everyday life, you know. Like, and that is shown through spreading kindness and love and gratitude. Every day I try to do that, you know, and then it just becomes natural and it becomes an everyday thing, you know, and that's our natural form of human connection, you know. That's where it all stems from. And I never want to take that for granted ever again because it's easy to, and it's easy to fall into a dark path like that and to fall into a cycle because I was in that path of like feeling very lost as an individual. And through trial and error, I feel like it brought me here today.
That's good. It's been a long journey, but I think, you know, we wouldn't be who we are if we hadn't gone through everything that we've gone through. And I think part of having gratitude is being able to look back at things that maybe hurt us in the past and recognizing that like every moment that we've gone through, good or bad, has led us to where we're at.
It's also good to question, what is the universe telling me? You know, what is it telling me with good or bad experiences? You know, because I used to go about my anxiety with full force, you know, like, why is this happening? Like, worried about the future, worried about things that are going to happen later today or tomorrow, you know, like, and I feel like that also takes you away from being present in the moment and what's happening in the moment. You know, a lot of the stuff that I've been reading too is I always play this podcast all the time by Byron Katie. It's an Oprah Super Soul podcast called Loving What Is, and it really, really opened up my eyes. So I really acknowledge you guys to give it a listen if you have the chance to check it out. You know, because it really taps into what really matters and and being present and, you know, attaining happiness. You know,
I love it.
But yeah,
I'll have to check that out. What was the name of it?
It's Byron Katie's, I think it's called The Work, Loving What Is, Oprah's Super Soul. podcast.
Shout out Byron.
I play that every single time I need to remind myself, And there's other things too, like meditating, doing yoga, breathing exercises, working out, eating healthy, talking to friends and family and continuing the conversation, because it's a lifelong work to work on yourself, and a lot of people don't do that, and it's
true,
because it's easy to kind of fall into other people's business and to fall into that trap of feeling worthless or like feeling really down about things due to external things. But you got to really tackle what's inside of you, and if you're ready to do that, I'm not saying that you should right now in this moment, but if you're ready to really dive into yourself and understand who you are as a person, with that being said, I think we just hit the mark for the podcast.
They're trying to shut us up, but we're not going to let them.
So we're going to end out with this game.
Awesome. I'm down. Okay. How do you want to start it?
I really like that.
We got a couple ideas for some new segments, and we're just going to try them. We're going to go off the cuff, see what happens. Let us know in the comments what you think.
Yes.
As long as it's a nice comment. Just kidding.
Better be some nice comments. God damn.
What do you want to do?
I really like that.
This or that?
Yeah, this or that.
Or is there something else?
That this or that thing was dope.
Okay, this or that. We're gonna host one from our executive director, Andrew. This or that. Do you have anything for us? He's blushing. No.
Pineapples or bananas?
Pineapples or bananas. Okay. I eat bananas almost every single day. Bananas are a really tough one to beat. However, pineapples have their own benefits, and pineapples are good. I would say if I had to pick between the two, I'd probably go bananas just because of like how much of a staple they are.
Okay.
But it's tough. That's a tough one.
Let me ask you this then.
Okay.
Working out or doing yoga?
That's a tough one. I would say the wave I'm on right now is working out. I haven't done yoga.
You just get rid of working out for good?
No, I would say I would choose working out over yoga. I think working out can be a little bit more of a holistic thing, and I would almost consider yoga part of working out.
Right.
I
think they're two separate things. I feel like they're both, yes, holistic, but I think yoga is more spiritual.
There's definitely more of a spiritual element to that. Although I will say, when I'm hitting PRs and I'm like
pushing 500,
there's just something spiritual about that. There's a little something there too. But I think I see your point on that, especially like the shavasana at the end and the breathing, and there's more of like a meditative approach to it.
I did 30 minutes of yoga, so I didn't pull somebody's head out,
Wait, what?
What?
Pull someone's head out?
I meant like...
You're making up new phrases now.
No. I meant to say like rip someone's head off. Yeah, rip someone's head off.
Okay.
It was an analogy. I'm not actually going to rip someone's head off.
The hat thing was nicer.
Yeah.
It was a nicer version of it. You cleaned it up.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. I got one for you.
Yeah.
Night or day?
Oof.
If you had to pick.
Day.
How come?
Because I love the sun, and I've just become such a sun lover. Like I literally will the first thing I'll do when I wake up in the morning is make my bed, yes, but then I'll like walk out, and like if there is sunshine, if it's a cloudy day, then it's like I'll wait till the afternoon. But LA is pretty sunny, and I go out, I like close my eyes, and I kind of just stare directly into the sun and let the vitamin D kind of just flow through me, and like I feel like that already kind of wakes my circadian rhythm and just everything.
That's a good thing.
It gets me going. Sometimes when weather does change my mood, and sometimes when I don't do that and I forget to do that, I'm forgetting something, and it's making me feel really down. And I think it's one of those. It's the moment. It's literally taking a moment or two to just like sit out and just enjoy the nature. Because like we need to be. It's another thing about being present.
A moment of gratitude, perhaps.
Yes.
I love it.
And then more often than not, I see a squirrel all the damn time. And I love squirrels.
What is better than that?
I saw a squirrel yesterday, and he was literally staring at me. I think the next time I see a squirrel, they're going to be right by my hand.
Are you going to... Is that why you carry peanuts in your pocket?
Yep.
Just so whenever you see a squirrel, you're ready to feed them? I was always wondering.
I did try to feed I lure a squirrel into my apartment by like...
What?
What?
Were you successful?
No. I put cashews outside my window.
Oh.
I named him Romeo because he would like pull up to my window, and like I tried putting the cashews out and like just to make friends with him, but then he ended up just taking them and running with it.
I'm not gonna lie, I would not be surprised at all if I came over one day and you had a pet squirrel.
I'm just trying to be Snow White, bro.
Did she have squirrel pets?
No, but like she was a princess who grew up in the woods, and like she would sing to birds and like nature would follow
she had the
her
seven
around.
dwarves.
Yeah, that's
Is that
the
even
same
PC
girl.
nowadays?
I don't even know.
Little people. You can't say. We're gonna get off this before we get in trouble. Andrew, did you have something?
I was gonna say acoustic guitar or electric guitar.
Oh, acoustic guitar or electric guitar?
Ooh.
Had to pick one.
Fudge. I think I would go with the old acoustic guitar.
Nice.
You know, because you know why?
What?
Because you would need an amp, and sometimes like when you're just like off-road, you're just like literally on the road or something like that, and you just want to play for people, you could be like, oh, I gotta plug in my amp, you know, and like it just like it's not as fun when you're like just like you just take it out and like an acoustic instrument, and there's just so much, it's so something so primal about it.
Acoustics hit.
Acoustics hit.
That's a good point. All right, I got last one for you.
What's up?
Would you rather? Not would you rather. Between the two options, if you had to pick one, would you go deaf or blind?
I think I go blind.
Can't give up the ears, huh?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be able to go throughout life hearing things, because I think I'm a visual person, I'm a visual learner, but what really makes me as a person is hearing people's thoughts and ideas and using that as my kind of compass, you know?
True.
To go throughout life, and I couldn't do that if I didn't have ears.
Wild. Good answer.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you to everybody who tuned in.
Thank you.
We appreciate the viewership, the kindness. We feel the love. We really mean it. And until next time, stay grateful, stay happy,
Stay grateful,
and enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye.
We love you.
We love you.